It's your boy Anime Princess, and today I'm ready to share my first juicer farming strat for 3.25. I've been running this for the past couple of days to generate T17 Fortress maps. If you're not aware, Fortress is the best T17 map. It sells for roughly 80 KS a pop in bulk, and we're able to generate just over half a Fortress map per map. So we're dropping one every 2 maps on average. That's the primary goal of this strategy. Strategy involved running 8 modifier maps with Delirium. And we're trying to generate as many maps as possible, so we're using 5 Scarabs that will generate more maps. The first one is the Cardo Scarab of Corruption. This makes it so that you only drop 8 mod maps, and it means we never have to craft a map. We're going to get extra maps. We're dropping 8 mod maps per map we run. So we're over sustaining 8 mod maps. I guess that's another source of profit here. The second Scarab is Cardo of Multitudes. And this adds a bunch of packs which have 300% increased chance to drop maps. So we're going to get more maps based on this Scarab. The third one is the Cardo Scarab of Escalation. This makes it so you get 10% increased map drops per modifier on your map. So this pairs really well with running 8 mod maps because it becomes an 80% increased chance. The last two are Scarab of Adversaries. This simply adds a lot of rare monsters. So, you know, we're going to get good loot from those monsters, including sometimes maps. The last one is Influencing Scarab of Hordes, which increases the pack size of our Searing Exarch mobs. By increasing this pack size, we're able to get much more altars per map. For these altars, you're going to be looking out for the chance for map duplication as well as the quantity bonuses. Other than that, obviously just choose whichever reward is better because you will be making money just from having so many of these altars. Those are the 5 Scarabs I tested with, and it's my 5 favorite ones. If you wanted to make adjustments to this strategy, I would suggest taking off either of the last 2 Scarabs and adding in extra Cardo Scarab of Multitude, which is the one that gives you 300% increased maps, because you can use up to 3 of those. They're kind of expensive. I don't think it's necessary, but that would be the suggested adjustment if you would want to deviate from this. All right, we recorded some data points while we were doing the strategy, so let's go over that real quick. I wasn't consistently writing the gold down, but on average, you get 25,000 gold per map. Obviously, the monster density is going to affect that. So running Colosseum, which according to Maps of Exile has a density of 10 out of 10, you are getting even higher than 25,000 quite often. But when you run Silo, which has a density of only 4, I believe. Where is Silo? It's 4. You might dip under the 25,000 average, but it's still pretty good. You're still going to get close to that. Sometimes, depending on league mechanics, you might even get up to like 50,000 gold. As for the amount of T16 drops, we can do it by map type. Colosseum, we are over sustaining. So we're dropping 8.3 8 mod T16, so we're over sustaining by 7.3. And for the Fortress map drops, it's just under half. For Silo, we get a little bit less. We're getting 7.7 T16 maps, so we're over sustaining by 6.7. I actually got quite a few T17 maps here. We got almost 0.7. So that might just be variance though, you know. You're still getting on average roughly just over half per map if we take into account every single map I ran. So why am I choosing Colosseum, sometimes Siege, and then Silo is what I settled on? Not every map can drop Fortress. I recommend you guys go over to Maps of Exile and filter for only the Fortress map drops. Now I have this descending from density because obviously the more monsters in the map, the more maps are going to drop. At least that's what you would think. So despite Colosseum being a perfect 10, which is why we started with that, eventually I ended up with Silo. which is quite a bit lower in the list, just because Silo is such a good layout for Spark. Honestly, they both are. They're both pretty tight maps, so our Sparks are gonna hit like 3 or 4 times for that juicy like 400 or 4 times damage multiplier. But Silo is just very, very fun to run, so we're settling on this. The rewards are still really good. You know, you pick whatever layout from that list you think looks the best. It doesn't really matter. Alright, so as for the loot, obviously we're dropping a lot of T8 mod maps. Sometimes League mechanics drop, well, actually, I don't know. I think those were from the, you gotta be careful. Those are from the League mechanic. I was having some mappers run some maps. I have my map affinity to a quad tab, so all my T16 maps will get just dumped in here, so I don't have to sort through, find my 8 mod maps in my map tab. We are not using singular focus. The reason why we don't use singular focus is because I believe maps are converted to T17 maps, but when you convert maps to currency instead, they have no shot of becoming T17 maps. So obviously we're going to get not only our Silo map, we're going to get some random maps in here, but we're getting more T17 Fortress. I'm still well over sustaining the map I want simply by favoriting it. And through the course of 60 maps, this is the excess maps I have. And I'm putting all the maps that don't match my filter over here in a 13C bulk tab. I don't use TFT, but I will occasionally have people who just want to buy a bunch of these in bulk. I am selling, well, I raised the price because I don't want to sell recording the video, but I generally have my fortress maps in a dump tab for ADC. People will pick and choose modifiers they want and they'll overpay. I think the minimum price for fortress right now is actually 60, 65, but you can definitely get away with selling these quite a bit more. I've even sold one for a divine because it had a really high more multiplier for Scarabs. All right, so yeah, we're getting a lot of gold, we're getting a lot of 8 mod maps, we're getting a lot of fortress maps. What else are we getting? Well, let's just look at the Atlas passive tree. We are getting whatever the Searing Exarch monsters drop, and since we're buffing the pack size of that by quite a bit, we are getting a lot of shrines, or sorry, a lot of altars. I chose not to do Wrath of the Cosmos because the strat is pretty rippy. I didn't want to make it more rippy. We are using Delirium. This is mostly with the assumption that Delirium is increasing quantity, so that is going to in turn affect our map drops. I like to use shrines. This is a pretty difficult strategy, so by using shrines on the Atlas and also using shrines on the map device, Domination for 3 chaos, we're able to get a lot of free power. It also makes the maps faster. There isn't really any other modifier on the map device that stands out, so the obvious one is just put on Domination, then we can skip a Domination Scarab and juice it further through the Scarabs. If you want to see this Atlas passive tree, there's going to be a link in the description of the video. You can just copy it. Missing a few points, but I think we have most of the stuff that's necessary. Some alterations, if you so choose, you could swap this over to the right hand side, then you'd be able to farm the brittle jewel from bosses. You are going to have a powerful build to do that. I think this would be more rewarding, so you could test that out. I just like the comfort of simply just getting more rewards there, even if they're not too meaningful. Obviously, we take all the shaping nodes because we are trying to generate as many maps as possible. The 2% chance to drop an additional connected map doesn't matter because that's just one single map. We're disregarding that. Really, that's the extent of the points. Alright, that pretty much covers it. It's a pretty fun strat. Highly recommend it. If you want to catch this live on action, I'm going to be streaming this tonight live at twitch.tv/animeprincess. And if you like the look of the Spark build and the B-roll footage, that is my League Starter. We have a League Starter YouTube guide and We also are putting out maybe every second day a new build update. It's very easy to swap over from Ice Nova Frostbolts to Spark, so if you think this looks a little bit more fun, I would highly recommend trying out Spark. You will definitely have way more Spark content. So no matter what your budget, there's some cheap points where you can swap over, and we're getting to somewhat higher budgets, so we're gonna get some pretty juiced up pobs in the upcoming days for playing Archmage Spark. Yeah. All right. Hope you enjoyed the video. Catch you guys later. Peace.
You are lost in the middle of the jungle.
To damnation!